Hi, I'm Steve Jones. Today we're going to look at one of the factors that affects the performance of the race aeroplanes, and that's weight. Why is weight important? Well, it's important because the wing is what supports the aeroplane in flight. That's why the aeroplane flies. If we can reduce the weight of the aeroplane, it means we're asking less work from the wing. The wing can fly through the air at a reduced angle of attack. This means it produces less drag. The aeroplane is faster. Behind me is Mike Goulian's aeroplane. In Abu Dhabi it was one of the heaviest aircraft, and that showed in its finish position. It was 14th. They've saved some weight on it now, and the variation in weight between the aircraft in the championship is around 40 kilos between the lightest and the heaviest airplane. That will really show in the finish positions. So 40 kilos, what's 40 kilos? Well, that's half the weight of a typical race pilot, and that's under 1G. 40 kilos will cost you performance of the airplane. Under 10G, and these aircraft in the corners in a typical racetrack will be operating at least at 10G. That's 400 kilos, that's nearly half a ton. The extra work the airplane has to do, it's like dragging another airplane through the corner with you. It costs you huge performance. So we're now in the hangar of Matt Hall. He's one of the lightest pilots in the championship this year. The variation between the lightest and the heaviest pilots is around 20 kilos. If the pilot can save weight, it's a big effect on performance. 20 kilos difference is 20 kilos at 1G. At 10G, that's 200 kilos. 200 kilos more that the wing has to drag through the air in the high G turns. 200 kilos more the engine has to drag through the air. So here's a great example of the effect that light weight can have on your performance. Hannes Ark's aeroplane behind me is the lightest aeroplane, or it was the lightest aeroplane in Abu Dhabi, and it set the fastest qualifying time and the fastest race time. It won the race. Now here we see an example of an aeroplane that's very heavy and yet it's still very fast. In Abu Dhabi it was probably the heaviest aeroplane in the race, but the aerodynamic mods are so good that that largely offset the fact that the aeroplane was pretty heavy. Also, Bonhomme flew it very well. Mustn't forget that the pilot still has to fly at the end of the day. He got second in Abu Dhabi with a very heavy aeroplane. The air race in Abu Dhabi was the first chance that any of the teams had this year to compare the weight of their aircraft and the weight of their pilot. Some of the teams were pretty shocked. Bonhomme discovered that he had not only the heaviest aeroplane, but also probably the heaviest pilot. So a lot of work's been done by Team Bonhomme, also by many of the teams, to reduce the weight of their aircraft and the weight of their pilot. It's going to be very different from how it was in Abu Dhabi. In San Diego, we look to see what effect that will have on the results.